A very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Design Meetup powered by IxDF Kerala and co-sponsored by Experion Technologies. UX writing is a crucial element to enhance user experience in digital products. It guides users through interfaces, communicates important messages, and encourages actions, ultimately leading to a more intuitive and enjoyable interaction. By empathizing with the users and using language that resonates with them, UX writers creates a seamless and delightful journey for every user. Let's discover how user experience is elevated with the power of words. Our speaker today, Nikhil Dinesh, a UX designer, will be talking us through the topic UX writing in product design.
Thank you for the brief introduction about me, also about the topic that I'll be covering today. And thank you, Param, once again for giving this introduction about the topic that we'll be sharing today. And it's on UX writing in product design and how UX writing will elevate the UX with the power of words. So we'll be talking about what UX writing is and why do UX writing matters in product design. What are the different instances where we apply the UX writing in a product design, and how do we even create a good copy, good UX writing. And at the end of the session, we'll also do a small hands-on exercise on whatever we have learned today. So I'll giving a chance to all the viewers to give a crack on the UX writing. And towards the end, we'll have a Q&A session as well, which will be moderated by Param. Without much ado, let me move on to the session. So what is UX writing? So UX writing, as it says, it's an art of crafting the words that you see all throughout your interfaces in digital products. So be it your mobile application, be it your desktop application, or be it your infotainment system in your car, wherever you have content in your products, we need to design it in such a way that it's thoughtfully designed and it creates a meaning for the users. And that's what UX writing is. UX writing, it emphasizes on writing the content, not just for reading, but also for doing. We know that users come into products to achieve a particular goal or to do a job. So when they're coming into the application, we have to provide the content so that it's meaningful to them, it will guide them, and it will motivate them to achieve their goal. UX writing, it covers both the two aspects of content in the product. It covers micro copy, which is the small chunks of text that you see in your product. For example, you see the chunks of text in buttons, in toast messages, in notifications. So there are small chunks of text. It's called micro copy. And also UX writing can be applied to macro copy, which is a large amount of text that we see maybe in update notes for applications or even in instructional emails. So that's what UX writing is. Now we have seen what UX writing is. Why does it even matters in product design? So I've put down 4 main reasons of why UX writing matters in product design. So we'll go one by one. First of all, it clarifies uncertainties during your product experience. I quoted before that users come into your product to do achieve some goal. So while they're achieving their goal, they have to go through a product journey. So when they're going through this product journey, they'll be tackling different points of time. So at every point of time, we need to provide a content so that it can guide the users seamlessly throughout the complete product journey. So here I've shown 2 examples of 2 screens. They are from a food delivery app, and the same delivery app with 2 points of time in the product journey. One is when you're confirming a location for your delivery, and one after you booked your food and it's being delivered. So when you're locating your position for your delivery, see the message that they've shown here. It says your order will be delivered here. Place the pin accurately on the map. It clearly says what you have to do with that point. It clearly says that that is the location where your food is going to be delivered. It makes no ambiguity for the user selecting your location. Coming to the second screen. See the message that's written on the bottom. Here, the user is waiting for the food to be delivered at their doorstep. And these are periods where we are waiting for the food and we don't know what has happened to it. This application clearly shows that what is happening to your order right now. Is it being cooked? Has it been picked by the driver? Is it near your locality? At every point of time, the application gives back the user feedback on what happened, what's happening to your order. So these are clear messages that the user gets from this product experience, and they don't have to worry about what they are doing there in the product. So that's how it clarifies uncertainties. Next is it empathizes with the users uh, during every step. It need not be necessary that while your user is going through a product journey, that he has to have the same emotional state at all times. At sometimes he might be delighted, sometimes he might be frustrated, and sometimes he'll be in doubt. So we can write copy with UX writing to cater for each of these emotion state. When you're delighted, you can show them a happy note message. When you're frustrated, you can show them message. We can show them the content that can calm them down. So it's up to the UX writer to choose the right content that matches to the emotional state of the user. I put down two examples here of the same product, booking.com, but two different experiences in the product journey. One is before booking up a room or a hotel, and one is while you're selecting a hotel to reserve a book or reserve a room. So when you are planning your trip, you are very much delighted. You're looking forward for the upcoming trip. You're excited. So at this point of time, you can give them texts which are inspirational. You can do a playfulness with the text that you provide the users. So that's what they have done in their landing page. Find your next stay. It's shown take your longest holiday yet. Fly away to your dream holiday. All these are inspirational. And this is the right point of time that we can give the users with this kind of product copy. Coming to the next step. This is a point when they have to now reserve a room. They are in decision making. They are not in the same emotional state as that they were before. You have to make a decision. They are in doubt whether the decision that I take is going to be right for me or not. So the same copy that we used in the previous state cannot be used in this condition. You have to have a copy which assures that whatever the decision they make is going to be right. We have to use social proof to the decision that they are going to take. So that's what they are given in the text copy for the second screen. So that's how in different emotional state we can use UX writing to empathize with the users. UX writing can drive engagement and increase conversion. At the end of the day, every product needs to have loyal users to it. Needs users to come back to the application. So the copy that we provide to users, it should compel them to click on a call to action button. It should persuade them to complete the action in their application. It should captivate and engage users. I've shown you two examples. One of them is of a Duolingo app, which is the language learning app. And this is the push notification that you see that is shown to the users when they are outside the product. It says you are 20 XP away from meeting your daily goal. What they're doing here? What they're doing here is that they're prompting the users to come back to the application, just achieve that small milestone. So now they are driving engagement to the application. The second one is a screenshot of a booking.com example, and where they have used two lines of text for the same intent. So in the first example, you can see that there is a deal of the day for a hotel, and they have written as time remaining and X amount of time. They use the same hotel, but used a different amount of different text for it in the next option. Here they are written expires in X amount of time. What they saw was when they changed this copy to from time remaining to expires, they saw an increase in conversion for the users. So the meaning for the two words is still the same. It shows scarcity of the deal, but when they changed the content of it, the conversion changed. So that's the power of word that you have to increase conversion and drive engagement. UX writing reflects the voice. We know that every brand has a personality. and every personality will have a kind of voice to it. So whenever a brand is putting down a content to its users, it is in a particular voice that they give the content to the users, and that same voice has to reflect in the products as well. So this is an example of Barkbox. Barkbox is a e-commerce site for pet products, and they have a playful kind of approach in their voice. And also, they always put the pet owner's pet in focus rather than the pet owner in itself. Here, the user is a pet owner, but they are trying to focus on the pet through their language. These are two examples here. One is our registration, and one is where they're prompting the user to make a payment. In both the places, they used playful text copy. So these are the four reasons why UX writing matters in product design and how power of word can elevate user experience. Now, what are the different instances on where we can apply UX writing in a product? Ideally, it's all the content that you see in the product, but I'm just listing out a few instances where we can apply it. First one is CTA, or call to action buttons. These are button texts, link text, which the user has to click to make an action. These are places where you can use UX copy. Alerts, success messages, error messages, notifications. These are places where we can use UX copy. Empty states. Empty states, as the name suggests, there's nothing there. But need not be that we should put a blank screen. We can create exciting copy that can guide the users to the next step. You can tell them what to do next. Loading state. It's a boring place to be, that where you have to wait for a system to respond to you back. It need not be that, and Slack does it very seamlessly, very well here. What they have written is, we like you, your friends are Slack. So even when you're waiting for something that Slack has to respond back, for a brief moment of time, you'll think about yourself. That waiting time is now lost. Updates or release notes. Updates or release notes are a long bunch of text that products give to the users regarding the new updates or any new bug fixes or other updates. But it need not be very technical to the users who are using this application, because to them, what matters is what benefits does this update give them. What can they do now with the application which they could not do it earlier? So that is what matters to the users, and that is what we need to put in the copy for a release note or update notes. And that's what Slack has done here very well. Registration. Registration process is the first step of a user coming into your application. The user is fresh here. It's like going into your house, a new house, and you don't know where to go. So you need to guide the users in completing registration or onboarding in a seamless way. And that's what Airbnb has done here. They have let users know on what to fill in each of these input forms and why do they need to fill it. Instructional emails. These emails are outside the products, but guide users back to the product. Gesto here guides the users to come to the application and make a sign in. But they don't put a sign in word as it is in the header or the button. They use it very carefully, and they have crafted a well made copy for this. Push notifications. Push notification, just like the instructional emails, also happens outside the product, which wants to guide the users into the product. It wants to increase conversion and increase engagement. So that's what Duolingo and Hipster Films have done here. Titles or headings, which are the first thing that you see in a screen, can also make a good, compelling UX copy for titles and headers for the screens. So these are some of the instances where you can use UX writing, but the list is endless. Ideally, it's every content that you see in the product. Now, we have thought about what and why UX writing and where we have to put it, but we didn't talk about how we can make it. So keep in mind these 6 points while making a good copy, and your bad copy will be converted to a better copy. The 6 points are purposeful, concise, conversational, clear, accessible, and keeping the brand voice. We'll go through them one by one. Be purposeful. Your copy has to be purposeful to the user. I've got it several times that user is in your application to achieve a goal. So the content that you give to the user, it should have a clear purpose to it in their user journey. So we need to craft a copy that guides the users towards their goal. Whether it's making a purchase or completing a form or finding any information, every bunch of text should be meaningful to them, and it should guide them to the next step, to tell them where they are, what they need to do, and how to proceed. Be concise. Brevity is the key. Be brief. You have to keep the sentences to a very short. Transfer the information to the users, but with a minimal number of words. User doesn't have time to read through the complete bunch of text to get the information back. They scan. So make it a minimal number of words and to give the right information. So we can see the example here. Both the messages give the same meaning, but the second one is short and direct. So keep it concise. Be conversational. What it means is that as humans, we talk to each other and we converse to each other. So why should it be different to a product when it interacts with the user? It should also be in a conversational way. It may not be in a mechanic automated way. So that's what has been represented in these examples. This is a new feature for a chat box for a website, and see how the difference between how they guide the user into this chat box. Read the first one. Click to open the chat box, and one of our representative will be with you shortly. It doesn't feel personal at all. It feels very automated. And see the next one. We got a question about what we do. Let's chat. It's so friendly that whenever you have a problem, you can directly go to the chat box. Be clear. Whatever copy that you provide to the user, it should be crystal clear to the user, and you should not leave any room for any doubt for the user. They should understand the message in a glance at whatever context they are in. So I've given an example here of two search results pages, and one of them says search results, and the other one says 2 reviews mentioned location. So in the first example, you don't know what the search results are. You have searched for Lululemon, but don't know what the results has come. But see the second one. Second one, you are in a review page, and the user has searched location. So the context is that user wants to know about the location before making a booking. So this is an Airbnb website screenshot. So now the review says, so the message says 2 reviews mentioned location. So that's what the user wants clearly at that point of time. So whatever you write, be clear to the user. You should not leave any doubt to the user. Be accessible. So when I say be accessible in UX writing, it means that any user should be able to comprehend what you have written to them. See the error messages that you have kept in the right side. One of them says unknown error code during application install. That is not what the user wants. The user wants to know what I can do next. How can I remove this error? What should I do? So that is what we should provide with them. So the next message says fail to install, and clearly says what you should do and the call to action to do that. So be accessible. You should not be using technical jargons to users. Be simple, keep it clear to the user. And the last one, keep brand voice. Once you've done all the other 5, now you have to keep your brand in mind. As I said before, a brand has a personality. So match with the brand's voice whenever you write a copy. I've given a screenshot of a MailChimp content style guide and how they used that content in a pop-up box. So MailChimp is a good example of how they keep the brand's voice consistent throughout their application. If you get a chance, please go through the MailChimp's content style guide. It is one of many that has excelled in this UX writing process. So now we have seen 6 points that you need to keep in mind while we can create a good copy. I'll show you an example on how we can apply this. And this one is an example from Google. So we'll show you an example here. This one says failure and authentication error occurred. This is the original copy. It doesn't mean to the user anything. So how can we change it to a better UX copy? We'll do step by step. First, we'll make it more accessible to the user. A failure, a sign-in error also occurred. Authentication is a technical jargon, but sign-in is very general to the user. So we can use that word in this dialog box. A sign-in error has occurred. Now, how can we make it more conversational? Instead of saying a sign-in error has occurred, you can say you entered an incorrect password. Now, it means that the application is talking back to you and telling you what you have done wrong. It should be clear. The word failure isn't clear, so change the word to sign-in error. Now it's clear what error has occurred. Once we have cleared and kind of made it conversational and made it accessible to the user, let's make it more concise. Do we need to a heading and a body text to convey the same information? Can we just write incorrect password? It's clear and it's concise. It means the same as above. But the message is not purposeful. User doesn't know what to do next. It just says a call to action, says okay. But when you have an incorrect password, what do we want to do? Either we want to try again or we want to recover the password. So why not give that call to actions to them and make it more purposeful? And that's what they have done here. They put two call to action buttons along with the message. So they have covered these 5 points and made it a better copy. But in order to match with the brand's voice of Google, now they need to rewrite it again. For Google, their brand voice is like, it's like an everyday language. It's friendly and it's very optimistic. They don't use words which are negative, such as incorrect, failures. So they are rewritten it as this. They changed the incorrect password to that password doesn't look right. Even though they have made the text a bit longer, but in order to match the brand voice, they have kept a balance between being concise and matching the brand voice. Now see the difference. The original copy was failure and authentication error was occurred. But the final copy says that password doesn't look right. Try again. Or did you forget the password? So this is how you can convert a normal general body copy into a good, better UX copy. And keep in mind these 6 points. Now, Shah, I want the viewers now to try out this method of UX writing. I will show you a scenario and I will show you a bad copy. And you can keep in mind the 6 points that we have shared right now and maybe come up with a good UX copy for it. I want you all to give it a try and put your answers in your chat box. I will just go through the scenario once and the brand voice that we are looking at. The scenario says that you're a user of a cloud storage app that enables you to securely store and manage your files. Today, you're excited to upload some precious photos into of your recent trip. However, when you selected the photos and proceeded to upload, you encounter that you no longer have storage in your account, and you're shown with this pop-up message. Now, you need to either make space or upgrade to a premium plan and buy more storage. So this is the scenario that you are in right now, and this is the message that you're seeing. It has a header, it has a body, and it has call to actions, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't match the 6 points that I've shared before. So I want you all to have a look at it and come up with a better copy for this. Keep a heading, keep a message, and keep a good call to actions. We'll spare some 5 minutes for this one, and I will let Parameshwaran to keep a countdown for it, and all the viewers can add their responses in the chat. It may not be the best copy, but you can give it a try with the points that you have discussed. I also wanted to add that this brand voice, I kept it as friendly everyday language and positive messaging. So whatever you write, keep this brand voice in mind as well. Rameshwaran, can we get a countdown of 5 minutes so that the viewers can add their better copy for this one to replace it?
Yes. So guys, let's start then. Okay.
I've given the 6 points here again so that you can go through them. You can go through the scenario once again and you use the brand voice. and start putting down your responses in the chat.
Okay, guys, let's start this session. The countdown starts now. We are going to pass 1 minute. So you have 4 minutes remaining. We're going to pass 2 minutes. Yeah, you have 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds. So you have half 50% is done. It's going to be 3 minutes. So we have 2 minutes remaining.
Ramesh, do you see responses in the chat, or is
No,
it just me that
eagerly waiting for write-ups.
think they are taking much time?
Yes.
It's okay.
Guys,
Okay to
come
be.
on. Come on, guys. You can
May
do
not
it.
be right or wrong. Can be. You just have to give it a try and let
Yeah.
just think about what we saw today and just match these 6 points that you're saying. I can see responses start coming in.
Almost like you have 1 minute remaining. It's going to be 4 minutes. Guys,
I think they are writing a well-crafted copy. They're
yeah.
taking their
Yes.
5 minutes to the maximum.
Yeah.
That's good.
Come on, guys. You can do it. It's 4 minutes, 15 seconds. 4 minutes, 20 seconds. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. You have 30 more seconds remaining. 4 minutes, 40 seconds.
I can see a lot of responses. That's nice.
Yes. Yeah, you have 10 more minutes remaining. Sorry, 10 seconds remaining, sorry. Yes, puts your pen down, it's done. 5 minutes passed.
There's a lots of responses parameters, and they have done
Yes.
very well.
Really good to see a lot of write-ups are coming from our participants actually.
Yeah.
Great guys, keep going.
So as the next slide, I will just show you what I came up with, and you can use it to evaluate. Some of them that I see in the chat are much better, Parvez.
Yes.
So I think they have grasped the concept very quickly.
Yes. Happy to see.
So this is a copy that I put down to replace the original copy. The original copy says cannot upload photos. It's straightly putting down, giving a negative word to the user. So we changed it to a storage full message. And the message that the body message is so lengthy, so we made it concise and made it clear to the user to what to do. We changed the call to action buttons to either manage storage or see the premium plans. The call to action button, which was there in the original copy, which says buy storage, it actually scares the user. Does that button buy a storage in real? So change it to see premium plans. It gives user more freedom to click it and view the plan. So this is the copy that I came up with. You can always evaluate what you have written with the 6 points that I've shared before, and always come up with a better copy. There's no one writer answer for this one. It's always making a better copy for the users. You just have to keep the user's context in mind. You have to keep the brand's voice in mind and provide what they are looking for. Be purposeful, be clear, be concise, be conversational to the user, be accessible, and keep the brand's voice in mind. UX writing is a craft, it's a skill that you can improve by practicing. You can go through these references that I've shared here, which will be helpful for you to learn more about UX writing. There are these books which I recommend: Strategic Writing by Terry Papinski and Microcopy by Kenneth Ifra. The 6 point that I mentioned in this session is clearly from this strategic writing for UX. It's mentioned in the book. You can also go through content style guides from different brands. Here I put down MailChimp and Microsoft, but you can just use it as a start. There are many others who does this craft very well. You can follow podcasts or blogs, Writers in Tech and UX Writing Hub to learn more about what's happening in UX writing field. So wrapping up, I hope that this session was insightful to you to learn about what UX writing is and why it isn't just about keeping text content in the page. It should be meaningful and it should be meaningful to the user so that the user has a seamless experience while they go through the product journey. UX writing is a craft, so practice it by keeping the users in mind, empathize with them, and always keep the principles of UX writing in mind. Once you do that again and again, you will better in this craft of UX writing. Thanks a lot for listening, and I appreciate your participating in that small session and the answers us very well. And keep writing. And I pass the baton to Parameshwaran to take up the questions in the Q&A session. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Param.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Nikhil, for talking us through UX writing in product design. So let's move on to the Q&A session. Please feel to unmute yourself and ask questions or type in the chat window. As well as you can also share your feedback or your own experience related to this topic.
Hello, hi Nikhil. It was an interesting section, and I have a question. How is content writing is different from this UX writing?
You mean content writing for marketing?
Yeah, the marketing and how is differentiate with UX writing.
Okay, good
Yeah.
question. So content, this is also a content writing. What we do for UX writing is also a content writing, but the UX writing is content writing made for doing. But the other one, which is for marketing, is purely focused on giving it a good flair. It's about selling your product. So the primary focus is on selling your product and putting down different words to the user through marketing copy. But when it comes to UX writing, our focus should be on what the user goal is in order to achieve in this product, and give them meaningful text at every context that they have. Did that answer?
Yeah, okay, understood. Thank you.
I have a question. Vaishnav here.
Hi, Vishnu.
Before going to the question, I think I would like to add to the point. So, content writing for marketing, what I've seen is, basically you sell the product, and content writing or UX writing, targeting the apps, is to basically keep the users in the application and get them to keep coming. So, to your product. So, yeah. Okay, now going to the question. So I would like to know what are the basic skills that one can develop over the period of time and be consistent with to get better at UX writing.
Okay. So this is also writing. So obviously you need to skill up on your grammar techniques, your skill with framing words, and you need to know about different cultural languages, how languages change in different cultures. So that's also one thing to keep in mind. And always, whenever you read or whenever you see movies, whatever language they use, keep it in mind, because that's the language that they use in the culture. So whenever you do maybe products for those cultures, you can see how languages change in different cultures. And that is for writing. When it comes to UX, you also always have to keep the users in mind, empathize with the users, always think about what the context is for the users at that point, what emotional state they are in, and write content to complement that state.
Understood.
So Nikhil, one thought here. So we can always use tools like Grammarly, maybe to find appropriate words. Like if you have written something and you want to like change some words, maybe by changing just a simple word will make a huge difference. So if you have written a copy and you try out different words, uh, tools like Grammarly will help you uh, rephrase it. Uh, you know to make it more friendly or like positive. You will get a lot of choice of words and like make the grammar correct. uh, you know it's not always that we are very good with language English, like when it comes to writing, but you can improve that by using tools like Grammarly, maybe. One thought here.
Yes. With the coming of Grammarly and this conversational AI things, now everybody can like learn more about how to write. So you can focus more on what users' context is, and leverage these applications to create edit copies. Yes. Thank you for pointing that.
Yeah, no
Nikhil, I'm
problem. That
Richu.
will also help. Sorry, Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, you can go on.
No, I was just mentioning one thing, just like in the chat, like I've seen like Joel mentioning about spell checks. So Grammarly will also help you do the spell check. So I was just mentioning that. Please go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, Nikhil, I'm Richu. My question is
Ritu.
whether a UX designer should be a UX writer, or is it a specific domain person should handle that?
Need not be like, if you have the skills to be a writer and if you have the skills to be a designer, you can do it both. It need not be that one person as such needs to uh, do this craft.
Yeah, thank you.
Being a UX designer yourself, if you are, it's always to skill up on UX writing, because you don't have the privilege of getting a UX writer at every point of time in every company where you work. So it's always good to skill up on other skills as well, which are very much crucial in this product when you're designing products.
And also it will be useful when we create the designs also. We will know how much text we are going to put in and all. We will be able to know, right?
Correct. Instead of using lorem ipsum,
Yeah,
always good
exactly.
to use the correct context copy, even when you're testing with the users.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah,
Ajay.
thank.
I just want to add to that. That was a very interesting question because even when I started UX, right, I had a keen interest in UX writing. Then I realized how difficult it is to actually just specialize in that. So sometimes we all focus on a lot of areas of UX, UI, and all that. But I think it's good to have someone who is an expertise in this in the team. Not saying that it should be only a UX writing person, but to have a few people who have that special skill or expertise as members of the team would be very important. And I think it's important for all UX UI designers and even developers to have or take an interest in it and build knowledge on.
Yes, Vandana. You're correct. If you have the privilege to add a specific role for UX writing as a UX writer, it's always good to do that. Yeah, you're right.
uh, Nikhil, I want to ask a question. Yeah, this is Vandana. So actually, I'm kind of like confused as to like we do our wireframing. We may start with low fidelity, right? And then like depending on our timelines and maybe even a paper sketch to start with, and then we go into wireframes, and then we go into UI. Now, at which point do we really have to focus on crafting the UX copy? At low fidelity, is it no text, no copy, or is it okay? We just have placeholder text, but at high fidelity, like which where do you think like we should focus on finishing the UX copy?
Personally, I feel that when you do low fidelity wireframes, you don't need text copy to be there. You're just keeping your ideas out onto the wireframes. So at that stage you don't need to actually keep a copy. But the research for the UX copy, it needs to start from the initial state itself. So whenever if you're interviewing a user, in order to make decisions for designing the screens, you also need to think about what they are conversing, like what are the words they actually use when you are interviewing with them. So that will give you a heads up on what words you can put in, or what words mean to them when you're creating content in your design. So it may not be necessary in your low fidelity to put the content, but to plan for it, you need to uh, plan it from the initial stages. Start putting it maybe in a high fidelity state of wireframes when you really uh, test it with the users.
Thank you. So, like, at what point do you decide, like, okay, this is the tone, or this is, what kind of tone you're going to take? So, do you, take it up, discuss this with the clients, or?
Yes. So first of all, comes the voice of what you write. So that comes from the branding style guide that your company would have, or your product brand would have. So refer the brand style guide for getting that voice on how you will write the content. Now the tone will depend on the context that your user is in at that product journey.
It depends on the brand archetype, right?
Yes. So whenever the brand is building their brand identity, they'll have a personality in mind. So that brand archetype will relate to that brand voice. Right, Richu? So whenever a new writer comes or a new designer comes to your team, they can always refer to that brand archetype, brand style guide to know about what voice to use in your copy.
Thank you.
Hi, Nikhil. Just one more point that I wanted to share regarding the UX writing. It's something that I learned throughout the experience. So UX writing is quite essential because it can make or break it, your product in a way. For example, the very famous product Red Bull that gives you wings. So I'm sure you're all aware that that advertising mistake, the company had to pay millions of dollars the lawsuit for false advertising. So while UX writing, looks all what do you say, something that easy that you can get in, especially in today's time when there is AI. Uh, but at the end of the day, we have to be careful about what we write and how we, get the message out.
That's very true, Vaishnav. Yes.
Nikhil, I would like to add one more thing, which I have faced while designing a product. We had a healthcare product which were majorly used by people who are in the age category above 50 years, say 50 years, yeah. So there in the login screen, we put a text field where the user has to enter either his email or username. So how we place the placeholder the style is email/username. So we expected the users to enter either their email address or their username. But we didn't get much response from the users. We got a lot of response in our tickets saying that we were not able to log in. So finally, we have decoded it. The issue was most of the users have entered their email ID and put a slash and entered their username. So that was a UX mistake which we did in that. So then we changed it to email or username, which results in more conversion.
Yes. That's right, Richu. Whenever you put out a product outside, you always need to look at what words will matter. Like you can do A/B testing for different words and see what conversion happens for each of these word differences. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your experience.
Yeah.
Any more questions or any more experiences people want to share?
Nikhil, one last question from my end. This is a poll to everyone. So this is something that I've been lately facing. So would you rather use login or login and register, or sign in or sign up?
Prefer to use login. Login is more generic than signing. That's
but
that's what I
don't
feel.
mix
That's
the
experience.
steps, right? I have seen somewhere people had putting login and then sign up. So don't mix up things. Either
Just
use
be
login
consistent.
and register. Yeah.
Be consistent throughout your CTAs, headings, whatever you do for your product. You should be consistent with your words. As Vaishnav said, we can make or break.
Any more questions?
Hi, Nikhil. As a fresher, how they can come to this UX writing field? Is there any certifications or anything like to apply?
Not much aware about certifications, Amal, but
Okay.
I know that it's a craft and we need to like practice on it and build that craft. It only comes with practice that you can come up with a good UX. writing.
Okay. If I am applying for a company, so what are their expectation to like a portfolio or anything like that?
They will expect a portfolio. They will when you are being recruited as a UX writer, they will be looking at each and every word that you put in your portfolio. So be mindful about that. Why you chose those words in your portfolio? Explain to them in your works, and that will help you to get through.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, hi Nikhil, this is Mitra. So
Mitra,
following on that, like, is there a special post like UX writer in our current like in companies and all? Specific?
yes, there is. Yes, there is. There are companies that only keep a UX writer to do all the writing stuff. Companies like that. There is a post called UX writer.
I thought that like it's all the duty of a UX team or UX designer to make this more peace and everything, right? So
There is this UX team of one, and there is this UX team where everyone has their own responsibilities to do. So when you are a UX team of one, you are responsible for doing every aspects of your design. The UX wireframing, the copy,
mm,
the research, you're expected to do all.
cool.
Hi, Nikhil. Thanks for the nice session. So just wanted to ask a question about UX writing. So how is UX writing affected by compliance reviews? And does UX writing involve learning or coordinating with compliance members of the company?
I'm not very sure about that, Joel. I need to look at it and get back to you on that.
I mean, I'd like to just share a view on that. Joel, I think one is using language that is this is compliance. Maybe it's not legally applicable. Okay, I'm not talking about law, but like one is respecting the user, like making sure you're not using a very aggressive tone while talking to the user. So maybe that is also a certain kind of compliance. And the other thing is respecting gender, politics, very sensitive topics. How maybe certain they use humor, but using humor in an application for UX writing without offending people or a section or a religious community. So I think these are things that acts as UX designers, as keepers of our users' interests, that we should upkeep and make sure that we comply with. Now, other thing is in terms of like accessibility, like maybe certain users may understand only very simple language, right? They may not be very advanced. Maybe they're not natural English speakers by birth. So maybe using or keeping the language very simple. So is it a legal compliance? Is it required? It's not. But making the language more accessible to our users may be a certain kind of compliance. Then there may be legal requirements, like in a certain country. I don't know how mature is India's rules, but in certain countries there may be certain rules about certain things that are not to be mentioned, not to be used, which is considered illegal. So maybe there are different kind of compliances. I'm not sure if I answered your question, Joel, but that's my some thoughts I have.
Yeah, thanks, Vandana. So that was a situation that was prominently visible when I was working with the client. So the UX designers there have their designs reviewed by the compliance team for the UX writing that they make. So only once it gets approval from them, does it reach the product team for, does it go to the management for approval? Yeah.
Thanks, Joel, for pointing that aspect as well in this session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any good experience or bad experience you want to share regarding this UX writing? I hope everyone is done with the session. Any more questions?
I think, yeah, I think Nikhil, I'm happy you chose this topic because I think a lot of us have a lot to learn about this. But what do you think as designers that we should be doing to build our skills on this, like on a daily basis, or there may be something that you do regularly that you can share with us?
Yep. Whenever you come up with a copy, always validate with the users, test with the users. Uh, that's what I do most of the time whenever I create a copy, my designs, and maybe try out different ways to do that. Do a lot of iterations, but always uh, take feedback from the users.
Thank you.
There is this Vandana, there is this test called highlighter test, which can be used. Is that when you can give a bunch of text to the users and let them highlight the words which they understand and highlight the words which they don't understand. So that is one way of testing.
That's interesting. Thanks.
Nikhil, this is one thing I want to validate with you. So I've heard that there's this thing that if any subject, you should be able to communicate it to a 6-year-old kid, right? So does that apply over here? Like when you're writing UX writing, it should be easily understandable from to a 6-year-old kid as well as a say 50, 60 plus year old.
Yes, I've read somewhere about when I was reading about UX writing, I've read somewhere that whenever you create a product which is for the global usage, write the copy which can be understood by for a 7-year-old. And whenever you create something for like organization uh, applications, target for 10-year-old. So I've read it somewhere like that.
Yeah, Vaishnav here again. So this is not directly to Nikhil, but from the development point of view, I think we covered quite a few from the design point of view. But from the development team, if anybody front end, if anybody would love to answer, please go ahead. I want to understand like how flexible it is for us designers to communicate, say, when we are updating the UX writing, say if there is a certain occasion, Christmas is coming or there's a Chinese New Year festival, how flexible it is for front end team to quickly change the content, personal the product to its end user. Well, if they can shed some light so that we also will be aware that as designers, the kind of process that goes in terms of changing the content.
Vaishno, I think it's not a big task for the dev team to change the content, as most of the contents will be stored in variables or something. In design tools also, we use these variables to store the values. Likewise, in dev also, we will be usually saving the text as variables or something. So it won't be a big task for the dev team to change the contents.
Yeah, it is not a big deal, Vaishnav. Because if it's also depending on the case to case, like on the scenario, how we actually developed it, make it updatable frequently. And also depends on the length of the content we are going to put. So if it is breaking any layout, so there are some matters. Yeah.
Thanks, Ajneesh. Thanks, Richu.
Thank you so much, Nikhil, for taking time for us and bringing this session interesting. I would like to thank each and everyone who took their valuable time from their busy schedule to attend this webinar. A special thank to all the participants who actively participated in the Q&A session, especially Amal, Vandana, Vaishnav, Yedu, Richu, Mitra, and Joel. Thank you all. Thank you to all the volunteers of this IxDF session who worked behind the scene to make this event happening. Please write to us and let us know how you found this session. We are available on social media like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, Clubhouse at IxDF Kerala. You can also write to us ixdfkerala@hotmail.com. We have a IxDF Kerala community in this Interaction Design Foundation website. Hope to see you all in the next session as we come up with you with another webinar. Until that, stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.